Don't worry about me, I'ma be alright. Got G-O-D all over my life.
Hi, my name is Kaysa. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about the life of an entrepreneur. Now, before we get into this video, I want to encourage you to like, subscribe, and press that notification bell so you can be notified anytime I go live or upload a brand new video. Now let's get into this video. Entrepreneurship. For those of you that might be in the thick of it or maybe just beginning. Some people struggle more in entrepreneurship than others. And I think that is because certain people that go into entrepreneurship don't go in with the knowledge and the wisdom that is needed. And I'll use myself for example. I formed my first LLC for my jewelry business in 2010. It flopped. I not only did that, but I also started a YouTube channel. That flopped. And it is because I did not have the essentials. I did not know what it would take. I didn't have the finances, I didn't have the time, the content, and anything else. And so when I tell you that entrepreneurship has to be walked into with eyes open, it has to have eyes open. Otherwise, it will fail. And I'm sharing these stories with you so that if you are in the midst of your entrepreneurship or you're starting it and you are seeing little signs of resistance or you're seeing signs that stuff is failing, it may be that you don't have enough revelation or wisdom or knowledge in which you need to know to conduct your business. Okay, that's number one, and I need to stress that. And the reason why I did not know, y'all, is because there are gatekeepers. There are many gatekeepers. They're not going to help you either because they don't know or because they are threatened at the fact that you might upscale them, outgrow them, or whatever it is that they have going on in their mind. And some people generally just don't want to share the information. I'm not going to do that. And the reason why I want to teach you all and help you all is because I needed that same help. And I believe if I would have had that help, I would not have failed flat on my face. Let me tell you, to fail in entrepreneurship is the worst feeling that you want to feel. Okay, I know there are other feelings out there, but I'm talking about as far as something that you're putting your hands to. You never want to fail at something that you do, but unfortunately you do. You have to fail in order to succeed. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories. One is about 409. Now, here's the story about 409. That's how I got to name it 409. The man that did 409, he tried 408 times before he got to 409 in that formula in 409. It took him 408 tries. And on the 409th try, he got the formula together. All right. Therefore, we have 409 today. Now, I want to share a story regarding my great aunt. My great aunt had this store in San Francisco, prominent area where all at that time, I want to say it was 1980, 1990s early. And in that area, business was booming and things were happening. But she wasn't making all of the money. I'm not saying that she didn't have some level of success, but I think she would have had greater level of success if she had a good marketing plan, if she knew who her target audience was, if she knew the latest trends and all of that. Well, it appeared to me that my great aunt was selling clothes that were outdated. Maybe they were for the older generation at that time, the church women, the business women, but it was never for the younger crowd. And I remember my mom telling me, oh, go into your aunt's store and go pick out something to wear. And I went in there. There was absolutely nothing in there that I liked, nothing that I would wear. And I think there was a maybe a gap between her and the younger generation. And I think that was because she lacked the wisdom. She didn't know how to obviously gather them in. There was a lot going on with that. But also, I think my aunt was struggling financially, because if you put all of your money into a said product, thinking that product is going to absolutely work, right? And it doesn't. You're stuck with this product. And you have to figure out what to do with it. You still have to sell it. And you have to find out how to sell it. So I think she was stuck with a lot of inventory that was not going over well with the public. And rather than her seeking help, maybe from a consultant or something like that, or family members telling her, why don't you try this or that, that wasn't happening. So I don't know whether she just wasn't listening, or she just really didn't have the money to pay anybody to do anything. And these are the things that you run into being an entrepreneur. Now, don't get me wrong, she had some level of success, y'all, because she had been there for years, but she wasn't gaining the success that she probably could get if she had someone mentoring her or helping her. See, a lot of us are out here doing this thing called entrepreneurship. We don't have any mentors. We don't have any coaches. We're just willing it, right? We're just, collaborating with people that we know, and they only may know a little bit of something, and then they may know a little bit of lot, and then they're not going to tell you certain things. But I have been fortunate enough to know people that we exchange ideas. I have people that I can go and talk to about business, and we can have a candid conversation about that. I've been fortunate right now, right here in this season in time. It wasn't always like that for me. I can go back 15 years where I had nobody telling me anything. That is why my first LLC, it literally flopped. Because I didn't have people telling me, you know what, before you get this LLC, let me break down what's going to happen, what the fees that you're going to have to pay, the licensing and all the different things that comes with that LLC. Right? If I had known, I would have stayed a sole proprietor until I was ready for that step to LLC, right? Obviously, now I do have to have an LLC because I have a home, I have property and stuff like that. And that's when you need to get an LLC. If you have property, guys, you want to have an LLC, because if anybody decides to sue you for any reason, people are sue happy right about now. And so you need to have that in place just in case that happens, so that, anything that they're coming after you for, it will not go against your personal. Sorry about that, guy. I got a phone call in. But I want to say this, because I want to kind of keep this short. If you can, surround yourself with people that don't mind sharing. There are some people out there. Now, if you find that there is nobody out there, y'all, I would recommend you go to the local library. Go to the local library. Get you a whole bunch of books on business. They got business for dummies. They have business, courses that you can take, marketing courses. There are all kinds of things. And I'm saying, if you cannot afford to take those, of course, y'all, you go to the library, go online. YouTube is a great resource where you can find out how to run your business. As for me, I'm rebuilding mine because I've had a lot of setbacks. And that's the other thing I want to talk about. In business, you will have setbacks. Many people may not tell you that because maybe it's an embarrassing story, or they just feel like that's not relevant, or that's just none of your business. But I'm here to let you know that running a business, y'all, is hard. Sometimes you lack the finances. Sometimes you lack the clientele. Sometimes you just lack the wisdom, or you lack the product. There's a lack that you go through in each stage of your entrepreneurship. It doesn't stay that way, But sometimes it starts off that way, and sometimes it remains that way for a season. That doesn't mean that you're not going to graduate. That doesn't mean that you're not going to succeed. That just means that there is a time where you're struggling and you're trying to figure things out. And oftentimes when we're trying to figure things out, we make mistakes, y'all. We make mistakes, And I'm going to say for me that my business, I started out with my own money. Never borrowed any money from anybody, never got any grants from anybody, never had anybody invest in my business, none of that. The only investment I have in my business, I will say, is my mother. And she invested in buying the jewelry, not so much, putting money into the business. She invested by purchasing different pieces from me. I want to tell you that it has not been easy, but I don't owe anybody. I don't owe anybody any money. I feel like I just didn't want to borrow any money. And then at the time that I was going to borrow some money, I didn't qualify. I didn't qualify for it because either it was not enough income that I had or my credit score was too low. And unfortunately, guys, when you are trying to apply for money for your business, you need a good credit score. Then there's also the thing about the grants. Now, I didn't apply for grants because at the time I didn't know anything about grants. I didn't know anything. Again, I did not have people that were teaching me that I needed to have a grant or get a grant. This is the best way to put money into your business. There are no strings attached to these grants. You don't have to pay it back or any of that, right? I did not learn that until now. And this is what I'm saying about the reason why businesses fail, because we lack the information. The Bible says that my people perish for lack of knowledge. We perish for lack of knowledge. And when we don't have people that are willing to share that information with us to help us get further along, then we stay in this little spot until we learn how to do more research. Now, I am a researcher, and like I said, now I do have a group of people around me that really help me to figure this thing called entrepreneurship out. I want to give a shout out to all the entrepreneurs that are out there that you don't have a full-time job. This is your full-time job. And if this doesn't work, then nothing else will happen for you. I want to encourage you to keep going. I have just started my journey of entrepreneurship without having a job, y'all. And I can tell you it's been rough. But at the same time, I do know certain things that I need to do. And I'm working on that. And I'm going to come on here and I'm going to try to give you little tips and tricks as to what I do on a daily basis to maybe help you in your business. It doesn't matter if you're a jewelry artist, a soap artist, or you're just a YouTube content creator. I'm going to give you the best that I have, and you take it and you run with it, all right? Okay, y'all, this is the end of my video. I will be back in another video to talk about some other things, all right? I'll see you in the next video.
Don't worry about me, I'ma be alright. Got G-O-D all over my life.